Jesus freak here. I wish I could say that the reason I was exhausted had something to do with the Righteous Reformation, like another YouTuber I follow, but honestly, I had no way to get there. The reason I'm exhausted right now is because about half an hour ago I took out 4 bags of garbage and packed up several more, so I'm waiting until I got the energy to deal with it. Anyway, reason I decided to shoot on the stairwell. I mentioned in the chat on what I've been calling the pirate feed that I was doing the same thing that they were doing at the Righteous Reformation, where they made an impromptu pulpit out of a music stand. As it so happens, I've actually been doing that for years. In fact, originally I bought this music stand and some equipment to hook a microphone up to my old cell phone, which had a TRRS plug on it, so that I could use an external headphone and microphone. And I bought it so I could go out in the yard and do my videos out there. And I did do it a couple times, I think. Not sure what all's still out there, because any of it would be very low quality. 720p, and took another hit from editing, so. But even though I'm no longer able to do that, use a proper microphone hooked up to my cell phone when I'm recording, I still have this stand, and I'll use it to hold my phone. I've also used it to hold some of my papers. Well, usually, if I'm gonna be reading something from here, and I have a pile of Bibles there meant for giving away, but I've never been able to do it. But I'll usually do like this. So just thought I'd bring that up a bit. Now, for the record, I'm aware that the trolls are back. Every so often, there seem to be, a couple wackos come by my channel and decide to hate watch it a bit. And they leave smart-ass comments on my videos. I leave them there because honestly, they're just making a fool of themselves. Yes, I attract some atheists because I hang out in some communities that tend to involve discussions about spiritual abuse, and some of those are atheist. So yes, I do attract some atheists. And I can tell the difference between someone who's maybe ignorant and someone who's just trying to be an ass, right? I know when there's someone that I can't reach. I mean, if they're just slightly off the mark, I might be able to reach them and bend them back, but before they break. But if they've gone full dytheist or whatever, or misotheist, I believe that most atheists, not all, there are some that genuinely don't believe, but I think a lot of atheists, at least those that have converted from Christianity or Islam, seem to be more of the misotheist type than the actual atheist. They say they don't believe, and deep down in their heart of hearts, I think they want to believe, but they've been driven so wrong by people in their church or whatever, since it's not always Christians, although usually it is, that they blame it on God. I probably mentioned this before. I've had people tell me, with all you've been through, why aren't you an atheist? I was like, it ain't God who hurt me. God saved my life more than once. And I might say, I call myself a cessationist. I don't believe that it's a normal thing for everyone to be, oh, I don't think that's the movement of the Holy Spirit in the church. But that's different from saying that God doesn't work in this world at all anymore. That's deism, Patrick. And I think most people who call themselves cessationists believe as I do that God does still work, but he doesn't show off, because we walk by faith and not by sight. Paul said that the folly of the Jews was to seek after signs and wonders, and the folly of the Gentiles was to seek after wisdom. While what we were offering was God dying on a cross. It doesn't make sense to them. But here we are. I say this as we're coming up on Good Friday and Easter. Because, today's Palm Sunday. Anyway, Jesus freak out.